Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Bronze Reaper podcast. I'm your host, Rosalind Perkins. Give me a second. I gotta switch over cameras. Hold on, everybody. Give me a second. Uh, Give me a second, everybody. I gotta again. Give me a second, everyone. Uh, Give me a second. Mm, Give me a second, everyone. I'm gonna have to open up Streamlab or OBS. OBS. Hmm. Let me see something. I'm almost done, everybody. Just give me a second. Let's see. Perfect. Got it, everybody. Welcome to the Welcome to the Reapers Nation podcast. I'm your host, Rosalind Perkins. Salute to the early birds who's getting the worm out here. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Today we will be talking about a guy named the Great. I always throw great. Moses Dickson. If you don't know who's Moses Dickson, you better ask somebody. This is why I'm gonna say this, everybody. I personally question if Abraham Lincoln really did free the slaves. And the reason why I asked that question is because motherfuckers was gonna kill y'all anyways. I gotta be personally honest. The black indigenous was gonna kill you anyways. So if you don't know the story about probably the first black infiltration, it was Moses Dickson. Um, Moses Dickson went to plantation to plantations, starting a coalition with other slaves, where he's teaching these people about protecting themselves, weaponry, probably martial arts before martial arts. So definitely this will be a quick show, probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we'll talk for 35, 40 minutes. It's different from conversations we do have, so because we do take this show serious. Well, we take all shows serious, but this show, this network, the Reaper Nation Network, we learn. You learn, I learn, we all learn. So Moses Dickson. This is Black history at its best. You know, there's no such thing as a Black indigenous unless you're referring to Africans. No, because there was already Black people here. And this is my white Hispanic audience member SP. He honestly thinks Mexican are indigenous. I don't think he watched the show yesterday and seen that, you know, technically you're 60% European, 60, maybe even 70% European, SP. As I said, you are the bastard child of Spain. This is why Spaniards treat you the way they do treat you, because you are the bastard child. You know, you are the generic you are the generic Spaniard, so indigenous, your people killed them off. That's why I say all the time, y'all don't have really indigenous culture. You have colonized culture, So it is what it is, man. Don't worry about it. Let's see, the Battle of Blackjack, 1855. That's something we can talk about, definitely. Mexican. No, no, no. Best thing I can tell you, SP, watch the show from yesterday. Um, because I'm gonna say this: you are very out of touch with your culture. You know. Oh, I'm sorry, Tuesday. You are very out of touch with your culture. I don't claim Spain. No, 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 no. Put it this way: do you have an indigenous last name? I'm just asking a question. Do you have an indigenous last name? Or is it Martinez, Chavo, Garcia, Guerrero? Those are Spaniard last names. I'm just being personally honest with you, man. Don't take this to heart, but you are a white Hispanic. Are there indigenous people in your land? Yes, there are. But it's just not you, SP. It's not you, man. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. It's nothing wrong with not being indigenous to your own land. It's put it this way. You are the Americans of Europe. That's why I support Trump in deporting. He had we deported your parents in the 1980s. We would have. Yeah, you might got a point there, Dorsey. I'm just saying, SP. Maybe genealogy isn't the best thing for you. Maybe it's going back into lineage. You will find that white man in your lineage. Do you have indigenous dance? No, you don't. You have white people dances. You have Spaniard dances. Let alone you have African culture. I will say that your country is filled with African culture, African influences. Where do you think you get your rice and beans from? I'm just saying, where you get your rice and beans from? Don't Africans eat rice and beans? You speak Spanish. Oh, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Uh, Dorsey, they speak Spanglish. They speak Spanglish. And there's not, SP, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a Spaniard Mexican. Do some of y'all have indigenous dances? Yeah. I'm gonna say this. You are indigenous like Elizabeth Warner is indigenous. Do you know who Elizabeth Warner is? That's how indigenous you are. The one Donald Trump keeps on calling her Pocahontas. There's nothing. I'm gonna say this, SP. There's nothing wrong with being white. Even let alone your people try to erase blackness from the Latino communities and countries. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, you genocided your own people, and because you got to understand this, SP. When you go down your line of people, your culture starts to whiten up. It stopped being indigenous. You know, this is why I said that you can't really make a black man a generic African because at the end of the day, we created our own culture. Y'all didn't create your own culture because you have so much influence from Africa, from maybe indigenous, the Spaniards. You still carry the Spaniard name. So there's nothing wrong with that, SP. So salute to you. Um, and I'm gonna say this to everybody: a lot of people don't want to hear the things they hear, but there's nothing wrong with being a Spaniard. Not everybody can be a Taino. You know, here we go, another white Hispanic. What's going on? Be active. Europeans in America can't restock America with European anymore because there are not enough Europeans nowhere on the. Well, I'll say this to you: be active. Out of America and Europe, we already knew that the Europeans, or also known as white people, are the minority of the world. You just didn't know that. You just finding out about that. We already knew that. You know. Here we go with the racial names. Oh, we'll put that up for you. Everybody, this is what goes on my show. SP, I need you to calm it down because this isn't the Bronze Reaper podcast. If you notice, this is the Reaper Nation. I personally did not want to go down that rabbit hole with you because we already did a show on that. Best thing I can tell you to do, just topic on the go on the show, listen to it, and comment. And I will comment back. So definitely, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole with you in this show because we already went down that rabbit hole on Tuesday. You wasn't available Tuesday, so that's not my fault. You know, all the racist names and stuff like that. I don't like to do on this show, and the reason why is because this is on Facebook too. SP. I just want you to know this is on Facebook, and I don't know the guidelines to Facebook. And also, give me a second, everyone. What's going on, Robin? I didn't. Don't think I didn't miss your comment. By the way, I watched Apocalypto last night based on Dorsey's recommended. Crazy movie. Yeah, facts. Yeah, it was a crazy movie. I like the movie. Yeah, when did Puerto Rico show some homes? You were you hear me now. You went from being a possession of Spain and becoming a possession of the USA. It's a way like do I see that caused the conflict between um SB. I'm gonna say this, and I want to end this. Um, no, it was in Dorsey. It was the disrespect from your grandparents, your fathers, your mothers, your cousins. That's where the disconnection came from with blacks and browns. You have a real unity. I'm gonna say this, and I hope you watched the show on Tuesday. Your real allies, your real black and brown comes from the Haitians. It comes from the Haitians. It doesn't come from black Americans. It has never came from us. We didn't help you get out of um we didn't help you get out of slavery, let alone enslaved a lot of people. So no, as we did SP. I know you're not a fucking idiot. I have to use that word with you. I know you're not a fucking idiot. We have done shows like this where we have figured out that in your community you had leaders, and I'm talking about these are your leaders such as Lilac, and this is the Latino caucus community. So y'all were already pushing the division in the 1930s. Y'all wanted to be considered white, and you can't blame black people for your own choices, your own parents' choices. As I've been telling you, and Robin can vouch for me for saying this. I told the white communities and I told the brown community this. You have to police your people. If you don't police your people and you let people get away with it, this is the type of situations you get. If you don't have power, then you need to get that power. You need to be that outspoken one. I'm just being personally honest. But now we're talking about Moses Dickson, a freedom fighter, a person we can even question if Abraham Lincoln actually really helped the slaves. That's what Reaper. So thank you, Robin. Yep, that is what Reaper tells me. Yeah, I tell people that all the time. SP, it's not a. This is what I don't think you really understand these shows. These shows isn't about being racist. It's not being about prejudice. It's about things coming out and we having conversations. I give platforms out. I give platforms that I really don't have to give out. I could have just made this an all black show and say shut the fuck up, SP. You have no say so in these topics. I could have done that, but I have not. And the reason why I haven't done that because at the end of the day, why not let people talk? Why not have people, tell us how they feel? If they feel racist about something, tell me why you feel racist about the things that black people do. And this is just coming from me. I don't have to give these out. Yeah, they speak Spanglish, so it's um and I'm gonna say this, SP. Oh, dude, we won't be in this situation. Let me ask you something. In the pen in the streets, it doesn't matter. SP. Put it this way: niggas aren't scared of y'all. 3 words scare y'all. Ice, ice. 3 words scared y'all, and y'all start hooting and hollering, or FBA. And it's and I don't want to say this just to disparage people like you. It's just at the end of the day, this should have never happened. If you was doing what you were supposed to do, SP, this would have never happened. And shout out to the Mexicans communities that do try, that do want a real coalition, but at the end of the day, don't know how to make it happen. Why aren't my comments appearing? Appearing in what? I don't know what you're talking about, SP. You're talking about on the show that we did, or it's just this, SP. We can talk about indigenous, but at the end of the day, we got to talk about this indigenous person. This guy named Moses Dickson. I'm gonna say this: he's a very important figure in the in black community. You don't have culture. It sucks. You copy cat rape racist. Yeah, facts. And it's um SP. It's just sometimes you just got to give it up, man. I'm glad you're coming out with your racism. I'm glad you're figuring it out. But at the end of the day, we do shows like this where it might be a little bit difficult for you, man. And the reason why it might be difficult for you because at the end of the day, The truth does hurt, you know. I do agree with be active. The truth does hurt, but sometimes you just gotta admit, like, yo, you know what? This shit is true, man. What goes on in my community is true. I remember when I met you, you told me this doesn't go on in the community. This racism doesn't go on. We call them coconuts. All of a sudden now, you're the one that's doing all the racism antics. You know, oh yeah. And it's like I could talk to y'all. Let me talk to y'all. But yeah, it's this is why I talk about policing your people, man. I'll say this. In Boston, I think Puerto Ricans have a good hand on, you know, I wouldn't say a coalition, but um hanging out with black people. Like in my community, like in my projects, blacks, Dominicans, Haitians, Jamaicans, we all get along because we all from the same soil, but most of us come from the South, you know. First of all, my projects is crazy. They will shoot you. But second of all, everybody's mixing, you know. That ethnogenesis that we do talk about, that's what's gonna happen in that in my community. Everybody's gonna be mixed with, you know, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, blacks. But at the end of the day, we pick up on our culture, and then we even might create a new culture, you know, in my community, you know. But it depends how you look at it, you know. Europeans in America can't restock American. I don't know what this man's talking about. And be active. I told you about that meth pipe and writing. Stop doing that. So yeah, they stepping on this man's dope in New York, man, and it's crazy. And whoever's doing that in New York, stepping on Be Active's dope, man, you're fucked up for that. And I will say that it's really messed up that y'all do that to Be Active. Yeah, true hurts sometimes. My people were conquered by English, but we moved on. Yeah. Um, you moved on because y'all got a new land. So, like, let me give you an example. Robin. For example, the people you like to talk about is small hats. You like to talk about the people who are the small hats and what the situation that went on with them. We can't compare black people with small hats, and the reason why is because we haven't got a land to call our own. They moved people out of that Middle East area and put them there. And they were only supposed to take 20% of that land. They took damn near like 80% of that land. You know, so at the end of the day, you can't compare us with them nor anybody else because everybody else has land and we had to share land with the fucking oppressors. You know, that's the difference. You know, I only speak the fact. Nah, you lie. You're the biggest liar out here. Be active. Um, yeah, you're the biggest liar out here. You're the biggest gaslighter. You're the biggest trauma bonder. I don't do trauma bonding, and that's just me. I don't do that. If I have a problem, I just have a fucking problem that I can solve myself. I don't need a bond with trauma with anybody else. No, absolutely not. Um, from equipment, people turn everyone around. Um, is that so? Is that supposed to say overtly? So obsolete. Oh, you obsolete farm equipment people turn everyone around you racist. I wouldn't say racist, but they had us so weird. Us country folks is this is one thing we this is one thing about country people. We are the most nicest people, most nicest, forgiving people of all. But at the end of the day, once you start doing dumb stuff, we're not gonna forgive you. You might see the ugly out of most of us. So for you to say that, it's extremely, concerning. SP coming from a culture that yours did when black people try to have a coalition with you, try to have solidarity with you. And we could talk about California and Texas, you know, where y'all do the most harm to black people. And the only thing black people did is let you in their community. So I will always say, that's why I always tell a lot of black people, be aware of the people that you are hanging around. So yeah, that's a a very concerning statement from you, SP. You know, move on. Tell that to the black. Oh no, we move on, but at the end of the day, they still have to pay that debt. You still have to pay that debt, SP. You don't have a debt. You have your own country. You know, in parts of your country, you sold, like Texas. You sold Texas. You sold Mexico. You sold Arizona. You sold. If you really want to be honest, I don't even think you had California. You know. So yeah, I'm gonna be personally honest about that. I don't think, and I'm gonna say this, SP. Be mindful what you say. You know, especially if you're saying you're a professor. You know, you know, a professor. People can instantly find you. You know, I'm just gonna be personally honest with you. If you're a professor, I know you're not a professor. I think most of us know you're not a professor, but I just be mindful what you say on this. I'm not gonna. Only time I take off videos if it gets um striked or blocked. Like Fridays, we did like 6 7 hours, and it was blocked. So be careful, my man. Yeah, he ain't no he ain't no professor, but you just gotta be mindful, man. I don't want you to lose your fucking job or get deported. So yeah. Um, and everybody, I'll say this: SP, he jumped on my. When I met SP, he was talking about solidarity. Now he's out here calling people mayates and akatas and niggers. Yeah, that's SP. He calls us up. And this is the thing y'all got to worry about. These people who are teaching your kids, you know, or I'm sorry, children. And some of y'all got more than one kid. Yeah, that's what happened. You got to be careful. Put it this way. Let's say I had a kid who was half like Latino. Do you think I want fucking teaching my fucking kid about anything? I wouldn't even want this man teaching my kids how to wash their fucking hands, man, because he's racist. He's a white Hispanic, a racist white Hispanic, you know. And like I said, these type of people always messes up for other Latinos who wants to fit in with the black community. We can't even give them a try because you know what? They got to jump through hoops and all this other stuff. You know. Um, but let's get on to Moses Dixon. Moses Dixon raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for guns and ammunition. Yeah, this man was about to he was about to slaughter white slave masters and probably the military. Mm-hmm. The other day I heard embellishments. He stated he was that don't document word being hide about it. That's crazy. I will have to watch it. To actually really tell you about that. Give me a second. U.S. is a country that is wise, giving it back to them. Be active. You're not indigenous. You're a white Hispanic. We talked about this Tuesday, man. Don't do that. We found out you were a white Hispanic. Let's not do that. Jesus Christ. SP is not racist. He's just like FBA's wannabe neo white supremacist asses. No, he racist. That nigga, that nigga's a Ryan Garcia. Are you serious? I'm not being patriotic. You out here putting NIGGER, spamming my live chat with that? Then saying you have a black girlfriend and finding out your girlfriend is Belize? Mm-hmm. He's a liar. He's a liar and a racist. It's all right, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. That's y'all business. Mm. When I moved to LA, Latinos used to walk up to me and how about blah, 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 blah. So I started to. I don't know what that word my yacht means. Black bug. Yep. Look at calling people black bugs and shit. Oh my god. Mm. Yo, you're not Taino, be actor. You're Hispanic, bro. Brother, you're Hispanic. It's all right. Man. This is the thing I'm talking about. Y'all be disowning y'all culture. Um, this man really think he's a Taino. Jesus Christ. You killed off the Tahinos, but you're not a Taino, my friend. You're just as an Indian as Elizabeth Warner. I'm just being personally honest. You're a $5 Indian, be active. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're a $5 Indian. It's all right. And shout out to you, man. But your genetics hold no weight to the Tainos. Well, your opinion doesn't matter. Yeah. You can be anything you want to be. You could. If Rachel Doza can identify as a black woman, you can identify as a Taino Indian. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You can be whatever you want to be, my man. This is America. If I wanted to identify as a strong black woman, then I'll identify as a strong black woman. So okay, I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with it, but well, my man, you're Hispanic. So what? Jesus Christ. You're Messi, man. You're Messi. You're Ronaldo Messi. Was it Ronaldo Cristiano? That's who you are, bro. It's all right, bro. But yeah, which means I'm a descendant. Okay. Okay. Whoa. Okay, be active. You identify as a Taino. All right. Okay, Rachel Dolsa over here. We got Rachel Dolsa, also known as Be Active. That nigga swear he's an Indian. Jesus Christ. 18-year-old deleted by the deputy. Uh oh, you talking about your peoples? Fuck your peoples be doing out there illegal. I I have, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I have reasons why I think, I should deport some of these people. And the reason why a lady in Savannah, Georgia got killed because one of your peoples was getting chased by ICE and he was running from ICE and killed a black woman in Georgia. you know. And as I always said, if you have this is what y'all should be fighting for, and this is just how I feel. Y'all should be fighting for better rights to get citizenship. You should say not all Europeans should have it easily to get citizenship or marry a black man. Stop being racist and marry a black man or a white man. And it'll be easier that way. The Asians do it. They marry old white men all the time. The Jamaicans damn near do it as well. Since you oh, you did? I'm sorry. Let me see. Shout out to back let's get it 004. That's 004? Or is that I'm gonna say back in action. Shout out to you, fresh always. Let's get it 004. Thank you, player. Thank you for the cash app. You know, yeah, man. I'm gonna be personally honest. That is my concerns. You actually endangering Americans, and like I said, I'm not just talking about black and white. I'm talking about like even Latino citizens, African citizens, Asian citizens, white citizens. You're endangering these people when you do stuff like this. You make it harder for other people who are trying to get citizenship, who are trying to do it the right way, who's trying to not actually go back to their country and live the American dream. You know, thank you. Let's get it 004. Thank you. That is why Puerto Rican will be the first Latino president of the USA when our indigenous and Latinos were the indigenous. But you do got your land. You got Puerto Rico, but you're American territory. Only thing you got to worry about, be active. I like Puerto Rico, but at the end of the day, the Europeans is taking over your country now. Because I think it's like a tax, some type of crazy tax break that you get in Puerto Rico. That's why you got Jake Paul over there, you got Logan Paul over there, and what do they say? Their hometown is Puerto Rico. So a lot of people gave a kickback from it, but yeah, Mexicans are yeah, they all are. Yeah, it's just I'm gonna say this. As I said Tuesday, be active. Puerto Rico is a beautiful place. It's a very, very beautiful place. I went there three times out of my life. Will I go back there? Probably not. Um, but honestly, only people that are actually doing your culture in Puerto Rico is probably the Puerto Ricans or Afro Puerto Ricans, as y'all call them. I call them African Puerto Ricans. The reason why I call them African Puerto Ricans because damn near half your culture is African culture. From the voodoo, from the food. Yes, it's all African culture. You know, are there some indigenous culture? Yeah, kind of, probably. And I'll say this: it's probably because of the spices in the country. Your people don't push equality in that country though. They still go by a colorism hierarchy. I would say that, but it's still a beautiful place though. I would say that. Your water's blue. You can see the fishes, or is that Dominican Republic? Um. Anyways, it's a beautiful place. That's why I'm gonna say this. This is why I can say this. Puerto Rico is a very beautiful place, but sooner or later, y'all gonna have to change that culture because it's a lot of colorism in that culture. The people who are doing that African shit is blonde hair, blue eye Puerto Ricans. You know, um, put it this way, be active. If you really want your own country back, you might as well just say like, yo, tell America you want to be independent. You know, you want your own people. That means you know what? You won't have to pay American taxes. You won't be in the well, y'all really technically are not in the voting policies in America. You're in the secondary. I think me and Kwame found that shit out when we did a show one day. Yeah. But yeah, y'all can have y'all country in Puerto Rico, but America, you know, white people ain't giving that shit up. You know? But I'm gonna do a show. And I'm debating should I do this show. Who started this division? I was supposed to actually do that this week. Um, hold on. The US is not giving us Puerto Rico. Put it this way, Robin. If they fight hard for it, I think they can get Puerto Rico. But Puerto Rico needs the help from America, so that's why they're not gonna give it up because they need the help. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs some type of help. America needs help. Back to Africa. Who's from Africa? You know, this is what I'm talking about. Be active. This is a learning lesson for every Black American. This is what Mexicans think of most Black people. There has never been a correlation. I mean, a solidarity. It has been like this forever. This is why a lot of Black people don't fuck with Mexicans. You know, we can swing votes and stuff with the CIA. The vote wouldn't even matter. Yeah, because they're really the minority. Like I'm gonna say this: once you start breaking a lot of these people up, Robin, you start to see that a lot of these Latinos are small. They're a small majority of this country. All they doing is what they try to do to Black people and Caribbeans and African, and that's put all of us together. Then when you find out that the technically the percentage of Black people are actually committing crimes is lower than probably 8%, probably like 4 or 5%. We do have Black people that do nigga shit and that needs to be in prison. I know a few, but most of these people who are doing this is technically from other countries, especially in New York. So it's like I said, it comes with the territory. And that's why I say once you start breaking these Latino subgroups up, you start to see that like, yo, it's not really a big group of these people. You know, it's just once you put Latinos in a group with Latinos, and I'm talking about Dominicans with Puerto Ricans, uh, Honduranians, Panamanians, and stuff like that, you start to see that there's not that many of them. So just I'm telling you, once you see the new census, Robin, you'll start to see you'll start to understand that like yeah, it's not a lot of them, and there's nothing wrong with that. People always have a problem when I do say stuff like that because it's true. It's gonna happen. Robin attitude would change if she actually lived around with people. Like you gotta understand, Black people do have communities. We have middle class communities. You know, we have Black rich communities. We do have these communities, but when you're talking about a lower class community, no, it's everybody jumps into our community. Everybody integrates our community, but middle class and high class Black neighborhoods, we have those. Don't forget Baldwin Hills. There's like 4 or 5 Black neighborhoods and I mean Black communities in Georgia. There's a few in California, um, Maryland. So there are black communities. Giant wake up call. But yeah, there's not really a lot of like Mexicans like that. I will say that. Um, there's a lot of Mexicans in California, yeah, because it's close to their border. So it's and they be human trafficking those people like the Asians do to their people. So it's not a surprise. Hold on, say, but we have to buy that from Denmark. And they so yeah. Um, Sooner or later they're gonna end up buying it from Denmark. And the reason why I'm gonna say that because Denmark they give out a lot of like resources to like people that come to their country. Denmark, Norway, Switzerland. Like I know a lot of Africans that go to those countries. You know, so it's not. And the reason how I know them is because of college. When I went to college, you see a lot of these abroad people who came from like Denmark, fucking Norway, Switzerland. Those type of places and stuff. So it is what it is. Robert is a but like let's get into the first video. Like I said, it's gonna be a short video. I mean, it's gonna be a short show today, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I want to get through these videos, and I want to break them down. And again, everybody, like and subscribe and comment in the live chat from Facebook to Twitch. I mean, not Twitch, Twitter, Kick, Rumble, even on Facebook. I want you to like this show. I put in a lot of these shows and stuff like that. The Bronze Reaper, we bugged the fuck out, but at the end of the day, it's just great. This show right here is definitely great content that we can learn about systems, freedom fighters, races, ideologies, conspiracies, so we can learn about stuff like that. So yeah, um, I do like to have these type of conversations, but I personally, I'm gonna be personally honest, I don't like to have it on this show. But people like uh SP, he always wants to go down this rabbit hole about his people. I personally tell him all the time that he shouldn't, because at the end of the day he'll find out the ugly side of his people. You know, like Black Americans, we don't have an ugly side because there's already a whole bunch of people putting that ugly side out about us. In these other communities, people don't put these ugly sides out. So, and this is why I do these type of shows. I do shows on black infrastructures, and I do shows on Latino infrastructures. Like we talked about colorism in these Latino cultures. Like we've seen the evidence, we've seen the information. Don't forget my words. What is the word? Be actor. I'm gonna be personally honest. We don't care. And I'm just being nice to you. We don't care about your words. Um, your words ain't even worth 5 cents, my man. And I just got to be personally honest about that. And the reason why is because you're biased. When it comes to Black Americans and all this other stuff, it's. I'm not gonna say it's hurtful, but I understand why you act like this towards Black Americans. But let's get on. Let me switch. You know what? Let me make this make me small.
In the years before the Civil War, terror often gripped white Americans in the South. More than anything, they feared an uprising of the people they held in bondage. The Knights of Liberty, a top-secret, all-black militant organization, prepared to justify their fears by launching the largest enslaved rebellion in American history. But before they could revolt, secret orders called them off. I'm Joel Cook, and this is Rogue History. It all began in August of 1846, when a traveling barber named Moses Dickson convened a secret meeting in St. Louis, Missouri to, as he would put it, prepare for business. His plan called for the infiltration of the southern states to recruit and train men who were courageous, patient,
Dorsey, I'll see. I'm gonna try to play these videos first, and I'll let you say at the end. Just let me get through some of these videos. I think I got like 2 or 3 videos, and you can talk. I'll let you talk for like 10 minutes. Just let me get through some of these videos. But this is why I question Abraham Lincoln's freeing the slaves. I don't think Abraham Lincoln had a choice. You know, shit was getting crazy when, and this is why I always say there's a lot of revolts that were happening. People out here killing white children. Um, it's about my experience being married to a Spaniard. um, I'll let you say it at the end. I just need to get through some of this stuff. But yeah, yeah, it's a lot that goes on in this with these revolts. This is why I always tell people all the time, these people weren't just getting, standing there and getting beat the fuck up and just taking it. There's a lot of these people, and I'm talking about a lot of revolts where people were getting killed, like 20 or 30 people killed like 200, white slave masters and their children and their wives, so it's not like, this is why I say, the story that they tell us and stuff like that, it's more brutal than we really know it at what we really know of it, you know.
and possessed of sound common sense. Recruits were required to take an oath of secrecy until death. After 10 years of training, these Knights of Liberty would launch a war on slavery. The participants in this St. Louis meeting, made up of Dickson and 11 trusted friends, would come to be known as the Order of 12. These 12 men spread out across the South to establish the Knights of Liberty. But even as they chipped away at this 10-year plan, they made an immediate impact on the Underground Railroad. In a 1901 Denver Post interview, Dickson stated that the Knights operated a network capable of moving freedom seekers all across the United States. Disguise was often part of their success. In one case, Dickson
SP, you got to be careful. Because don't forget, if you're really a professor in the way you say you're a professor and you say you work at USC, people will flag your channel and try to find you by your email. So be careful. I'm letting you know, SP. This is on Facebook. I'm just letting you know. You got to be careful what you say. If you notice, a lot of people been losing their jobs for saying some reckless stuff, and I'm letting you know, just be careful. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. Be careful. Don't be sorry. Be careful.
rescued a mother and daughter from Louisiana by coordinating tailors and barbers to disguise them as sailors. A fellow Knight of Liberty snuck them onto a steamboat as part of the crew, and they successfully made their way to freedom in Canada. In the same interview, Dickson said that the Knights of Liberty had an unbreakable telegraph code that remains hidden to this day. But we do have evidence of coded language from other underground resistance groups who operated during the same time period. The African Mysteries, a group based in Detroit, Michigan, communicated with freedom seekers through what we would know today as call signs. One nonverbal signal required a person to touch the knuckle of their right index finger to the knuckle of their left. The other person would respond by reversing the signal left to right to confirm that they were also part of the organization. But while groups like the African Mysteries were focused on escaping from the South, the Knights of Liberty wanted to seize land for Black people in the South. The plan was to attack Atlanta and form a stronghold of Black resistance. Moses Dickson's plans for a separatist state were rooted in life experience. His parents were born into slavery, and as a boy, he survived race riots.
I'm trying to stop you from losing your job, SP. You got to be careful. You can say whatever you want. Like I said, just respect the laws of the land. But at the end of the day, you might lose your job doing stuff like this. So Like I said, I just give the warnings. If you want to keep on doing it, by all means, it's your job. You know, I don't work with you.
In Cincinnati intended to drive black people out of the city. He learned that black liberation was needed by any means necessary
Mm.
and would come to know exactly what that meant when he lived through Nat Turner's rebellion. On August 21st, 1831, Turner and at least 40 compatriots launched a bid to end slavery by attacking several plantations in Southampton County, Virginia. While it was never truly clear what Turner's plan was, the rebels executed 55 people before being stopped by state and federal militias. Black
Shalom,
people
Oseo,
suffered the
shalom.
consequences of the rebellion, with hundreds being beaten and murdered across the South. Slave patrols, formed by state and local militias, began an early version of stop and frisk policing, and laws known as slave codes prevented enslaved people from gathering in large numbers.
So if anybody knows, that's where stop and frisk came from. It came from the South, where they were stopping slaves or black people and showing them who were their people, so they know that they weren't runaway people. That's all. That's where stop and frisk came from, and it didn't come from like people in New York. It was an old racist term for seeing where you come from. Where's your papers? You know. So yeah.
Traveling without permission, or testifying in court. None of this was lost on the Knights of Liberty as they prepared for their own revolution. In discussing the secrecy needed for them to succeed, Moses Dickson wrote, "We know of the failure of Nat Turner and others. Previous rebellion leaders struggled with stealth and planned for just weeks or months without building a real infrastructure to support their operations. Dickson gambled that a large army with 10 years of training gave them a real chance. Now, they just needed funding. To raise money for his secret plan, Dickson appealed to sympathetic abolitionists in the North and the South. They willingly donated thousands to Dickson's Underground Railroad work, unaware that they were funding a revolution. By 1856,
That's crazy. So people think they're funding one thing, but they're really funding a war. Do you think that's where America got that from? They got it from Moses Dickson. I'll
they
be
had
right back,
everything they
everybody.
needed to launch their war against slavery.
Everybody, give me a second. Give me like 30 seconds. I'll be right back. I'm a I'm a I just gotta run real fast somewhere, and I'm gonna play some music. Just give me a second. That'll take that long somewhere. All right, I'm back, everyone. I think like some of this stuff that Black Americans were doing, or even foundational Black Americans were doing, were this is it. Like setting up a funding for some stuff like that, and also it'll be for a war. Like for example, in the 1980s, the drug epidemic. That was the fund. Everybody think that, oh yeah, it was to fund the government and stuff like that. No, it was to fund the Nicaragua war, the drugs and stuff. While it was destroying communities and people's families, it was funding a war. You know, so shut up. That's a Ronald Reagan thing, you know. So yeah.
But when the time finally came, they didn't strike. As Moses Dickson surveyed the landscape, it became clear to him that a civil war was coming, whether the Knights initiated it or not. Not far from his home in St. Louis, anti-slavery and pro-slavery guerrillas were already fighting a civil war along the Missouri-Kansas border. Dickson recognized that a larger movement was forming and decided to wait. But not everyone accepted the order to call off the rebellion. From Texas to Louisiana, and eventually all the way to Maryland, uprisings and rumors of uprisings struck terror among the slaveholders in the fall of 1856. But Dickson was vindicated when Confederate forces officially started the U.S. Civil War in 1861. Almost immediately after the start of the conflict, Black Americans began providing intelligence to the Union Army about the Confederates. Coded broadly as Black dispatches, this information could come in the form of debriefs from the people who escaped the Confederacy, or from missions specifically orchestrated by the Union Intelligence Office. But Black people weren't officially allowed to join the Union Army until 1863. So who was the Intelligence Office working with? Because the Knights of Liberty maintained strict secrecy, there are no documents confirming their participation in the early years of the war. But there are lots of coincidences. Take the Loyal League, for example. This all-Black spying organization was formed at an Ohio convention in 1851, not far from Dickson's hometown. When the Civil War began, this League of Black spies hit the ground running because they already had a strong communications network operating all over the South. Sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? Though the armed rebellion didn't play out the way they planned, the Knights' work was not in vain. The network Moses Dickson built remained intact after the war, transitioning into a mutual benefit society known as the International Order of 12 of Knights and Daughters of Tabor. Dickson played a major role in organizing schools for Black Americans in St. Louis and served as a founding member of what is now Lincoln University of Missouri, one of the oldest historically Black universities in the nation. After his death in 1901, his legacy continued on through the Taborian Hospital in Mound Bayou, one of the first hospitals in the country with an all-Black staff. Whether through clandestine means like those used on the Underground Railroad, or the violent insurrections that moved the United States closer to a reckoning with slavery, there has been a continuous through line of Black agency and organizing from this country's founding through the present day. We'll never know what would have happened if Moses Dickson and the Knights of Liberty had launched their own war on slavery in 1856. But what their plans do tell us is that the narrative that Lincoln and the Union Army freed the enslaved doesn't even begin to tell the entire true story of African American emancipation. What did you find?
That's why I said, I was like, yo, sometimes, like, yo, just hearing this story, you got to question. Give me a second. Let me make a big screen. Let me make half a screen. So this is why I said, like, yo, we have to question if Abraham Lincoln actually did free the slaves. We have to question it because at the end of the day, if we're already having revolts and stuff like that, why do we, like, a lot of us would have died, but we would have had Atlanta. We have Atlanta now, but we would have had Atlanta. That would have been a free state like Florida was for for the Seminoles, the Black Seminoles. So yeah, it's a abnormal situation. You know, Lincoln was probably scared of more revolts. Yeah, he was. And also too, I'll say this, Robin. A lot of these people are losing money in the South. Because don't forget, this was Moses was talking about Nat Turner. Nat Turner had a war. He was warring with people in Virginia. He killed 52 people, him and his people, and these are plantation masters. This is why I was telling Be Active in SP that a lot of these people, when they were sending people to the South, to these Caribbean islands, they were sending us back because we already had a taste of blood. We already had a taste of war. Then after that, when you have other people that did it, you're manipulating other people to go to war with you. Like, yo, you're gonna take that from that man? Nah, man, we could kill that man in his sleep. You know, you giving people ideas like, oh, yo, we can actually do that. And they will never even find out who did it. There's so many of them, but there's a lot of us. That's how a lot of that stuff started. It didn't really just start like, oh, it went from Haiti. No, Haiti, the Haitians helped the Latinos. That's what happened. We already had a taste of blood. You know, the Seminole War was going on for over 30 years. Yeah, John Horse. John Horse, they said John Horse was never a slave, and John Horse was a black man. So if you ever look that up, we found out probably like 8 9 months ago that John Horse was a black man. So it's like I said, these type of situations, you always got to question these situations. Like, where did this stuff come from? Why do they say that stuff about black Americans? You know, why they always try to trauma bond us? There's a reason why that they do stuff like this. So I always tell people, yeah, just be careful. And this is just me. I have always been like that. Just be careful with the information that people give you, and you know, it's like, yeah, like I said, just be careful. They're giving you this information for a reason. Give me a second. Pose. Sorry, everybody. Just give me a second. Nice. Uh, but yeah, it's just, yeah, the Haitians won the battle, but lost the war. Yeah, they did, because yep, they had to pay France reparation all the way until 2 years ago. Yeah, I think so. There, or I think 1946. That's why that country is like so. I don't know. You might be right, OC. You actually might be right about that. I think. Um, like, to me, I always tell people all the time. It's a Give me a second. It's a weird situation. The Haitian War has always been a weird situation to me, because at the end of the day, if they got this land in this country, why did it take so long for them to fix it? You know what? And like you said, reparations. They were taking everything out, that they were juicing the lane. Now you got to look at it. Who's juicing the land now? You got a few people juicing that land. You know, so yeah, it's a weird situation. I always tell people all the time, it's a weird situation where we don't really have evidence of, them inspiring anybody else, but we do have them fighting other wars. We have them fighting the Dominican War. We have them fighting certain parts of Latin countries. But when it comes to America, we don't have no evidence. All they say is, oh yeah, they brought Haitians to Louisiana. No, they didn't. They didn't bring no Haitians to Louisiana. They brought the Haitian slave owners and their children, and some of their children were probably mixed. You know, I just got to be honest about situations like that, because I don't want to spread that type of information. And me knowing that information ain't true. So let's finish this video. Let's see what he's saying.
Most interesting about the Knights of Liberty? Let us know down below. And while you do that, I'm going to tell you about a new show on PBS Voices channel called Sovereign Innovations. It's a series about Indigenous excellence, where powwows and pop culture dance together, and where ingenuity is a powerful tool for cultural resilience. You'll meet Indigenous designers infusing culture into fashion, historians using beadwork as data sovereignty, and architects taking cultural knowledge to build community. Check out the link below.
SP, I seen you in that picture. I'm just joking with you, man. Well, I'm gonna say this, everybody. This was for educational purpose, and it done its job. I always want to tell people all the time. Sometimes you have to question history. Haiti had never been stable. Freedmen in America was invited to Haiti, and the freedmen that went to Haiti came right back to the U.S. because Haitians were cruel to a. Oh, see, I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me that, OC. They were cruel to us. So okay, and this is what I'm gonna say this. Kwame did say that too. And he said that on Tariq Nasheed, and I. This is why I always tell Kwame, I was like, "Yo, Kwame, you can't keep on using the same information of you saying something because all I'm gonna do is just gonna show the Tariq Nasheed version of yours. I'm not gonna even entertain it. Yes, Haitians helped a part of Latin America independence, also just like Antonio, who was Puerto Rico, Spain. Um, as I said, like be active. You're not saying anything that I already did not say. I'm just being personally honest. All I said is that y'all didn't win the war. Well, the indigenous didn't win the war because a lot of y'all still running around here with Spaniard last names. So that means you lost the war. You know, you just, you know, you just accepted that the world is changing. You know, there's a lot of things you could have just fixed. Hold on, not really. Hold on 1 second. Oh, Jesus Christ. Do I really have to do this to this man like that? Why do people always do this to me, man? Like, this man say I'm Dominican. He said I'm Dominican, and I'm indigenous and black. I was like, you are a white Hispanic, and that's okay. I don't know why people do that to me. Like, yo, why you think? Not true. Haitians went to take over the Dominican Republic. Then the Haitians ran out. I mean, Haitians got ran out and was never able to put feet holes back in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, they actually still to this day kicking Haitians out of Dominican Republic. Um, it's a sad case of what's going on, and as I said, that's a real that should be a real black and brown unity. And this is all I got to tell the Haitians. That's culture. That's their culture. Once you help them, they don't want you around anymore. That always has been culture. They do it in America. Like, for example, these amendments that the equalities that they get from the amendments wasn't from Mexicans or any Latino group. It was from black Americans getting beat down, hung, you know. And this is where when black people are fighting back, and this is before Pan Africans came in, but it's they were getting beat down, all this other stuff, and they're fighting back, burning down white establishments and stuff like that, and the Latinos didn't help. But when 64 came, I think 1964 came, that's when everybody, even the Latinos who hated on the blacks, got equal rights. It wasn't the Latinos that helped. They didn't help with anything because they were fighting to be white in 1950, 1930s. Um, and it is what it is. I'm not mad. It's just you just take it. You just take it with the game. You just take it with the game. Um, we're gonna watch another video. This is 33 minutes long, and after that, we're gonna break this video down and out and Dorsey, you can talk.
Rewrote our legacy, but through the ashes, the blood still speaks. From Moorish courts to Louisiana sugar fields, this is the true story they tried to erase. Nobility, reclassified, royalty enslaved. Yet the fire never died. It lives in the bloodline. This is more than history. It's restoration. It's reclamation. It's truth. Bloodlines of Fire. Available now on Amazon KDP.
Peace, foundational Black American family. Today, we're gonna be talking about the Knights of Liberty, a secret foundational Black American resistance society during slavery. We're gonna discuss the formation of the Knights of Liberty. So let's get into it. Moses Dickson, abolitionist and minister, was born in 1824 and transitioned in 1901. He founded the secret Knights of Liberty in 1846. In the summer of 1846, 12 foundational Black American men met in a second-story room at Green
Shout out to you, Bombs Legacy,
in St. Louis, Missouri.
Everybody like and subscribe and comment in the live chat. And also, when you comment in the live chat, you have to be a subscriber. So subscribe. That's the reason why you can't be in the live chat. So once you subscribe, you can be in the live chat with everybody else and stuff. And also too, if you want to write, you can write whatever you want, but just respect the laws of the land, and that's all I ask you for. If you want to donate to the channel, the Bronze Reaper Media, I will be putting it up right now. Give me a second. That's cash. So there's Cash App and there's Streamlab. The Streamlab is connected to my PayPal, so definitely just hit that button. Boom, you're good. And also we have Super Chat. So if you want to hit the Super Chat, if it's easier for you, you can hit the Super Chat and donate what you want to donate, and I put it up on the screen as well. So salute to whatever you do, and thank you. We do appreciate it.
It was one man from each slaveholding state to form a clandestine organization dedicated to ending slavery. Their leader was Moses Dickson, a free Black barber from Ohio who had traveled the South, and he became convinced that only armed resistance could destroy slavery. On August 12, 1846, Dickson and his comrades swore a solemn oath of secrecy. I can die, but I cannot reveal the name of any members until the slaves are free. This secret society was dubbed the Knights of Liberty, and its mission was nothing less than a coordinated continent-wide slave uprising. Over the next decade, the Knights of Liberty quietly expanded into a broad underground network of Black resistance. By the mid-1850s, Dickson's group had grown to include over 42,000 members, both enslaved and free Black foundational Black American men, spread across nearly every southern state. These recruits, they met stealthily at night, using covert communication and drills to prepare for an eventual revolt. The Knights, their very existence remained hidden from slaveholders due to the absolute loyalty demanded by their oath of secrecy. A decade-long plan for a national slave revolt formed the outset. The Knights of Liberty devised a long-range strategy to spark a national insurrection against slavery. Dickson later recounted that the founders agreed on a 10-year timeline. They would spend a decade recruiting, organizing, and training enslaved people across the South, then strike for
Be active. This is why I tell you all the time you have a colorism problem. You're talking about all the Latin countries that, got freed and was independent countries, but they could never be independent without the Haitians. I get it. I know you're trying to promote, unity with the Latinos and the La Raza, whiten the skins. But we also have to be personally honest. Again, you would have never able to win that war without them Haitians. Y'all couldn't do it by yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. And the thing about that, out of your country, they juiced up all the gold. Technically, that's why they didn't even really want to fight for Puerto Rico. They said, y'all can have that shit back because they took damn near all the gold from your country. That's what your country would. That's why they called y'all Puerto Rico. So let's not do that. Give credit when credit's due. Them Haitians helped y'all. So that's not fair.
Freedom around 1856 and 1857. The envisioned flashpoint of this rebellion was Atlanta, Georgia. Now the plan was for thousands of armed slaves to converge on Atlanta as a central rallying point. Then fan out in a coordinated military campaign against slave-holding regimes. By the summer of 1857, roughly 10 years after the Knights' founding, their preparations was nearing fruition. Small caches of smuggled firearms had been distributed among the recruits, many of whom drilled in the dead of the night on remote plantations. Dickson said that 42,000 men...
I got something that popped in my head. Be active. The question I have to ask you is, do you have a Christopher Columbus statue in Puerto Rico? I need you to answer that question. Do you have a Christopher Columbus statue in your country?
Were already drilled and weld on, and he expected nearly 200,000 foundational Black American soldiers would join once the uprising began in earnest. He even told a reporter that plans were complete for a rising. We expected to have nearly 200,000 men once we reached Atlanta. According to Dickson, the Knights battled orders instructed rebels to spare women and children, parole any non-combatants, and treat captives humanly. A stark contrast to the brutality they had suffered. However, they was also prepared to, in Dickson's words, march, fight, and conquer, or leave bodies on the battlefield. Such was the resolve behind this secret liberation army. Even as they stockpiled weapons and trained in secrecy, the Knights of Liberty actively waged a quieter war against slavery through the Underground Railroad. Under Dickson's guidance, the group funneled money and assistance to help enslaved people escape bondage whenever possible. They raised thousands of dollars, sometimes even from sympathetic or duped slaveholders, to finance escape routes and safe houses. Dickson himself crisscrossed the country aiding freedom seekers, at one point orchestrating the daring escape of an enslaved man from heavily guarded Charleston by shipping him north inside a wooden crate. This foreshadowed the famous 1849 escape of Henry Box Brown, who mailed himself in a crate to Philadelphia, though Brown's own accounts don't mention Dickinson's involvement. The Knights also forged unlikely alliances to further their causes. Dickinson cultivated white anti-slavery allies like Cassius Marcellus Clay of Kentucky, a prominent emancipationist who secretly donated $1,000 to the Knights' Underground Railroad activity. Such funds was used to outfit escapees and to free as many enslaved people.
So that's super dope. I want to say this. I'm just listening to half of this. I feel like honestly going to say this. I actually want to see what would have happened if Black Americans would have fought. I know a lot of us would have died, but also we would have our own sovereign land, and it would be Atlanta. Yeah, it would have been Atlanta. I don't. Yeah.
Was possible in the lead up to the plan for the revolt. By 1857, the clandestine network had spread the plantations throughout the South, with the possible exception of Texas and Mississippi, where recruitment lagged.
Yeah, you're right. OC. It is American territory, just like the Virgin Islands. St. Thomas is a American territory. Be active. That's not the question I asked you. The question I ask you, and I need you to answer this question, and if not, I'm gonna have to put you in timeout, my friend. Did Puerto Rico, your country, have a Christopher Columbus statue? That's what I'm asking you. Did it have a Christopher Columbus statue? This is two.
Prime to launch a unified rebellion. Everything hinged on timing and secrecy. Secrecy, rituals, and ties to other networks. Operating under constant threat of discovery, the Knights of Liberty borrowed the tools of secret societies to protect their mission. The group's structure and rituals echoed fraternal orders and perhaps even black spiritual traditions. In fact, Moses Dickson himself was active in Prince Hall Freemasonry, the prominent black Masonic order. After the Civil War, he served as a leader, Grand Master of Prince Hall Grand Lodge in Missouri, suggesting that even during the 1850s, the Knights may have drawn upon Masonic.
No, it wouldn't. I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Robin. The reason why, the most you would do to Atlanta, I think America would have destroyed it. The reason why, because they didn't want to see a progressive state, a black progressive state. So yeah, you have to remember, bros, we were under the Most High judgment. Now the Most High judgment has lifted. That's why we're starting to see this shit. Yeah, you're right with that too. You're right. Biblically, yes, you are right, OC. Um, a lot of that stuff is starting to be lifted. And a lot of this stuff is being broadcast too. So yeah, a lot of these countries are starting to see it too. I'm gonna say this: a lot of these Caribbean countries are starting to see it. I don't know about the Latin countries, Latino countries, but a lot of these Caribbean countries are starting to push back on a lot of this stuff. They're starting to push back on a lot of African culture too. I know Shabaka doesn't see it, but it's out here. If you notice, for example, I'll give you an example. Jamaica. Jamaica is starting to see that, like, yo, you know what? We are our own people. We are not these people that they keep on calling us Africans. So yeah, you are right. I do agree with that. I was talking about Prince Hall's Freemason yesterday. George Floyd was one. Oh yeah. I think Moses Dickson was one too. I think he was a Freemason as well. And a lot of these Divine Nine people were Freemasons. So yeah. Yeah, you could call it after the show.
Principles of brotherhood, coded communications, and mutual trust. The oath, passwords, and initiation rites of the Knights of Liberty remain little known by design. But Dickinson's later writings hint that he was inspired by the failures of Nat Turner and others, a recognition that earlier slave revolts had been betrayed or suppressed due to loose lips and lack of coordination. To avoid those fates, the Knights maintained strict compartmentalization and cover stories. In 1855, Dickson even created a decoy organization called the 12 Knights of Tabor, a public-facing black fraternal order, as a cover for the real Knights of Liberty. The Knights of Tabor engaged in abolitionist advocacy and benevolent work, which not only advanced the cause of freedom, but also diverted attention from the secret insurrection plot. This clever finesse allowed Dickinson's militia to...
This is the type of deflection I am talking about. What does that matter if there is? Because we don't praise it. We have it as a reminder of our history, because if you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. So the reason why I ask you that, and yes, you do have a Christopher Columbus there, because we know where that your hierarchy is. Your hierarchy isn't the Taínos. It has always been the Spaniards. That's why you have your oppressor's statue up there. That's like me having, for example, that's like me having a country and me having Christopher Columbus up there or a slave master up there. Why would I have that up there? Be active. That's your allegiance. Your allegiance has always been Spaniard, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's where most of y'all came from anyways. Most of y'all came from Spain. So be active. What's the problem? It's not like no reminder. No, it reminds you where your history is. That is your history. That is your culture. This imaginary Taino thing that you do be active, you are a white Hispanic. And I'm gonna tell you this, be active. Every show that we have on the Reaper's Nation, you're starting to find out you're more Spaniard than you think. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's your culture. There's a reason why y'all don't do half the stuff that y'all do. There's a reason why your foundation is African. Your foundation is Spaniard. That's your culture. I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you want me to say, SP? That it's a lie? That is made up? That's not made up. That's your culture. Sometimes you just gotta accept what it is.
Operate in the shadow, while white authorities assumed the Knights of Tabor was simply another civic lounge. Beyond formal fraternity influence, the Knights of
You
Liberty
Robin.
likely drew on the spiritual and cultural network within enslaved communities. Many enslaved, foundational black Americans held clandestine religious meetings or consulted conjure men and root workers for protection. Practices collectively known as hoodoo or conjurers. While there is no direct documentation that the Knights of Liberty used hoodoo rituals, it is well known that black resistance leaders often leverage African spiritual traditions to inspire and safeguard their followers. For example, during Denmark's Vesey planned slave conspiracy in 1822 in Charleston, South Carolina.
Shabaka, I'm gonna say this. You need to stop complaining and go to Africa and help them build. You don't need me over there in Africa. You don't need these black Americans in Africa. There's only 50 million of us. There's like billions of y'all. You can why aren't you go let me ask you a question. Why aren't you going to the Caribbean islands? Why aren't you going to these African Latino communities? There's 3 times more than them than us. There's Africans all over Europe. Like, why aren't you going over there? This is what I don't get about Pan-Africanism. They stress and they bitch and moan about black Americans and foundational black Americans in America. But they're not figuring it out that, like, yo, they're already the majority. It's just y'all not executing. Why is there more y'all in your country and y'all have less resources? It just doesn't make sense.
VC Lieutenant Gullah Jack was an African-born conjurer who provided rebels with mojo bags and protective amulets as spiritual armor. According to oral history, Jack's hoodoo charms emboldened the plotters and even terrified non-participators into silence, helping maintain secrecy. Such hoodoo-based resistance was not unusual. Conjurers was the backbone of many slave rebellions, respected for their ability to invoke spiritual power against oppression. Harriet Tubman herself was remembered as a gifted conjurer woman who used herbal healing and prayer in near mystical ways to lead slaves to freedom. In the Knights of Liberty case, Moses Dickson was an ordained AME minister, so Christian faith likely went hand in hand with convert practices. It's conceivable that prayer meetings and secret religious gatherings provided cover for rebel organizations, and that some Knights shared or practiced folk belief to bolster courage. One 2018 historical account notes Knight's sacred vow was enforced with life or death seriousness. The code of silence.
You know what? I'm gonna open the floodgates right now, Dorsey. Come on, let's open the floodgates and you can talk. You know, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna open up the floodgates right now. Yeah, Dorsey. The floodgates is open. You can call. Definitely. And that'll be the end of the show. These niggas is out here kissing each other's ass. Yo, Shabaka, be active. If y'all are so brothers, why aren't y'all over there fighting for Africa? The fuck? Why aren't you helping Shabaka fight for Africa? Be active. I don't get that shit. Y'all are something else. You know, to go is a ideology. Yeah, we know it's a scam. Pan African is a scam, scamology. That's what y'all niggas is. And I'm sorry to feel like I'm attacking you, Shabaka, but the shit's a scam. This nigga Shabaka is crazy. Oh my god. Uh, 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 you know, yeah, you gotta get the shit together, Shabaka, though. Oh shit, Breadman's following me. Shout out to Breadman. Breadman. Hey yo, Dorsey, you could call. If not, I'm gonna end the show. All right, we're gonna give Dorsey 30 more seconds. Then after that, I'm gonna land. Um, but yeah, that's just. I'm gonna be personally honest. And this is just me, man. I always looked at that as a problem. People telling our history, and I think this is why I honestly, this is another percentage why I wanted to do this show is because to tell Black history stories. The infiltrations, the our downfalls and stuff like that. It's Pan African crap when them fools don't even got it right in Maryland. Hey yo, Shabaka, I heard you working at the Dr. Umar school. Hey yo, be actor, you about to get a job at the Dr. Umar school with Shabaka? You should, man. Y'all both of niggas is scammers, so. Hey Dorsey, you could call. Telling this nigga to call. Is this thing working? Kentucky newspaper. All right, let me land. I'm gonna say this. I did this show, so I was tired of people telling our story. I was tired of the Pan Africans. I was tired of the Caribbeans. I was tired of even the Latinos trying to tell our stories, especially the ones that have fair skin like ours. Um, there's a such thing of having, there's a such thing of having a black experience and having an immigrant experience. A lot of these Caribbeans and these African Latinos, they have immigrant experience. Shabaka has an immigrant experience. This is why he can see at out of both sides. Don't think. White supremacy. But yeah. Yeah, this is why Shabaka can look at it out of both lenses. He can't look at it as a black American man, but he can look at it as a immigrant that can cosplay as a black American man. They get that type of experience because Shabaka could always run back to his country and say like, "Yo, fuck that! I don't have to go through that." Me, Doris, what's going on, Dorsey? It's good. It's good. It's good. How's everything? Mm. Well, Moses Dixon. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Black people. Black people's here. Yeah. Oh. Okay. See, I didn't know that. Hmm. Oh yeah. What they call it? What they call it? Locker room talk. They call it locker room talk. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. So those motherfuckers in England was funding a war, and they probably didn't even know that they were funding. Oh, they do. Yeah. Facts. Hmm. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Because they would have been free. It's like bringing them to England. If they would have went to England, they didn't have to come back. That's why what's his name? Thomas Jefferson when he bought that girl. What's her name? Begins with a H. Yeah, he ended up marrying her, having kids and stuff. He said she was like, "Yo, I will only go to America if my kids don't become slaves." Yeah, and he was a pervert, anyways. Thomas Jefferson was a fucking pervert and a rapist. So I gotta say that man was out there taking a pussy and makeup and lipstick. Yeesh. Hmm. 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 Yeah, the dude who was fitting himself in a box. Mm. What's up? Mm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Wild Wild West. Yeah, Wild Wild West. Jesse James. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Only one I know Cassius Clay is Muhammad Ali. Mm. 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 Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. You tell me. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Oh. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would have never trust them either. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Shadrona Truth. Why does that sound so familiar? Oh, okay, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. Facts. It's true. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. 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 That's crazy. Yep. Crazy. Yes. What was it, the 70s? Or probably later. Mm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm. Yeah. Mm. That's crazy. Oh yeah, that's true. Hey yo, let me ask you a question. You ever heard of a guy named Philip A. Payton? This dude was from Massachusetts. I think Western Massachusetts. He moved to Harlem, New York, and they were going through these these investors or realtors was going through a situation in Harlem. So what Philip A. Payton did was he was around all these white folks and stuff, these investors and stuff, and they used to hear about all this craziness. And what he did was he told the investor let him have like some rent, and there was a such thing as white flight. So he started renting to all the white people so the other investors can lose money and just lose all his homes and stuff. So he invented, I mean, he was in renting to all black people from the south. And the other guy lost his investment, so he bought it from the other guy and started doing the same thing. That's how a lot of those folks from Harlem moved there. That's another reason, another way from these people from Harlem were moving there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. His name is Philip A. Payton. Going. What you mean? What moves? Um, white people, right? White folks. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Mm. And also be careful because we're also to be aware that we're on Facebook too. So yeah, some of the language we got to. No, 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 not with the hard R. No. Yeah, niggerish sounds better. Mm-hmm. Because don't forget the Mex. Don't forget the Mexicans fought to be white in the 1930s. So yeah. Mm. Oh yeah. Yep. That's why in New York, Puerto Ricans were called Germans. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. That's why they say a territory more than a state, or they look at you as property. They look at Puerto Rico. Hey, I'll be right. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Keep on. You could keep on going. All right, I'm back. All right. Let me, because I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes. Let me ask you a question. Do you think? Do you think if this revolt would have happened with Moses, it would have turned out good? What you think would have happened? Mm. So you think it would have pushed us back more? But there were already revolts, though. That's the thing. I think this is what it would happen because it was already happening. And the thing about it, they think this would have escalated even more. Um, I think they would have gave black people their own land, like they were doing to the natives. Like, yo, you take this part of the land, but this right here, this is us. You can't come over here. You can't do none of that. I think that's what they would have done that. Because don't forget, there was over 200,000 Black Americans that were ready to take over the South, and they were already going. They were already going through the war with a civil war. What's up? What's up? Mhm. I don't know. Mm. Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah, I can see that. And let me ask you a question. Is Virginia the South or is it East Coast? I consider it the South. All right. Why is us? I'm starting to notice now a lot of these people from Virginia want to separate from the South, but they got Southern culture though. Mhm. Yeah, he did. Hmm. Oh, oh, okay. Mm, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Mm, yeah. 30 more 30 more seconds, 30 more seconds. Mm, yeah. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Mm, mhm, yeah. Yeah. 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. Mm, yeah. Because there's more white women in the United States than white men. Mm. You think that's why they're aggressive towards their women? Mm. Power is control. Yeah. 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 Hmm. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, yeah. Mm, damn, that's crazy. All right. Yeah. Yeah. That's, mm, 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 mm. Jeez. Hold on one second, Dorsey. I don't think they can hear you. Give me a second. Because my screen just went. Give me a second. All right, they can hear you. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, so you have to understand white women have always thought they
Mm. All right, there we go. Yeah.
they gonna buy her a ring, a house, and all that before they even get married to the broad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean times have changed, and women have gotten worse. They have not gotten better. They have
Mm.
gotten worse because now they're saying, "Well, we're the feminist movement, and we can have our own children. We don't need men no more." That's the white women saying that shit.
Mm.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
That's hatred of men altogether, but it's also more a form of racism, extreme racism.
Mm.
Because if you don't even like men, then that means you don't care for black men either.
Facts.
You see where I'm coming from? Look at Rosie O'Donnell.
Hey,
You know
Dorsey,
uh huh.
I gotta go, man. Yeah, I gotta go.
I'm just saying, don't dykes hate niggas? Hmm?
Dorsey, you can't say that, bro. I'm on Facebook.
Oh, I can't use the word dyke.
Nah, no, you can't use
Oh, I'm sorry. Niggerus. My bad.
it. But thank you, Dorsey. I do gotta go. I appreciate the great information that you was
Watch
giving
out for them white girls. They ain't no good. I'm telling you. They go for all the fellas.
Thank you, Dorsey. I appreciate it, man. I gotta finish my last words. Actually, you can stay on the phone while I give my last word. Um,
Okay.
so I'm gonna say this about Moses. I think Moses, what he has done, I think they needed to hide the history because if they didn't hide that history and know that, like, put it this way, they would have hid that history. If they didn't hide that history, I think FBA, a form of FBA, would have happened in the early '90s. I mean, early 1900s, easily. If they didn't hide that type of history, and this dude only took 10 years, what you think it would have took in the 1900s? It would have took half of that. Not even that, probably would have only took 2 years to do. You know, it only took 2 years to do, and it would have been what it would have been what it would have been. I think, put it this way, I think there would have been a lot of more travesties that would have happened. I think there would have been a lot of more. I think there would have been a lot of more people fighting than marching. You know, it would have been a different story. We would have had our own. I believe it would have brought us our own land. You know, because one thing Americans don't like, they don't like stuff that's gonna cost them money. And I think this is why the Civil War started, because the Civil War was about these people getting killed and losing money because they can't send the military everywhere. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. That's why Abraham Lincoln wanted the emancipation law. So I'm gonna sit there. Thanks, Dorsey. I appreciate everything.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You notice how the little Latino and the African are conspiring and shit,
Well,
right?
I've been said that. Remember, I said you see how
Yeah.
he was talking about Haitians on Tuesday, talking about the disrespect about Haitians. And I said, and I had to tell him, I had to check him, like, yo, why are you talking about the Haitians? I was like, you would have never got your independence if it wasn't for the Haitians. I said, if he wanted solidarity, he should have had it with the Haitians because they helped them 3 times more than we did. They helped them
Mm-hmm.
get independence.
Okay. So you notice one thing about, and I just want to point this out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fidel Castro could have easily had taken Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
He could have easily liberated Haiti, but did the Cubans even reach out to help the Haitians?
Absolutely
No.
not.
And that's that Hispanic racism we talking about. The people who were just around the corner who would have supported him 1,000%,
Mm-hmm.
he turned his back on them.
And the thing about it,
Because he could have went to.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Fidel Castro was in New York with black people, and he was getting protected by black Americans.
Yeah, because he knew that we was trying to help him.
Mm-hmm.
But see, he had that animosity because he let the Dominicans influence his decisions in dealing with the Haitians.
Mm-hmm. Colorism.
So he couldn't go to the Dominicans.
The colorism that I was talking about on Tuesday. They have a colorism.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about that, all of them be the same, but what they try to do and the things that we were watching is that a lot of these Latino countries brought over Europeans so they could impregnate the dark skinned females while they left the males, the Argentinian males in a community by their own self where they didn't have women at. So that's what they did. So and you can't get mad at me.
They paid.
Go on.
They paid for the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That's how far they wanted this shit to go. They paid for their tickets from Europe to Argentina and Uruguay. They paid for them to come here to be white.
And put it this way, that's not the only country that they did that to. They did that to a lot of Latino countries. That's why in certain Latino countries that there are African communities or black communities, or as they say, Mayate communities. Even in Mexico, there's a lot of these communities. And now you got to ask the question, why? Why? This is why I do these type of shows, these Reaper Nation shows. I had to do them twice a week because at the end of the day, I thought it would have been great informations that we can have that I can learn and you can learn from. While I'm learning about that, I can do a show about it. So it's
okay. Have you ever heard of the Great White Hope?
I heard of it, but I don't know what that is.
The Great White Hope is the lie that Latinos buy into. That if we bow down to the white man, we will get prosperity. Because remember, they can't do shit for themselves. Name me one Mexican car. In fact, name me one Latino car.
I don't know.
There is none.
It's true.
Think about it. They buy all their imports, their industry from where? Europe and America.
But Dorsey,
they have no manufacturing.
I gotta go, Dorsey. I gotta wash my kids and stuff. So
hey, I know, but they only good for raising cattle. They're agricultural culture. That's it. All right, go and get your kids.
Thank you, Dorsey. You have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna have a longer show, and I think I'm gonna do my shows at 4:30 now. 4:30, and yeah, we'll be done probably by like 10 o'clock.
In the afternoon or in the morning?
In the afternoon.
Okay, thank God, because I'm
Yeah.
like, damn.
Yeah, because I usually do it at like 6:30. We go into like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I do want to do this. I want to do it from 4:30 and like at 10, 10:30. If y'all have something to do, like if y'all want to go out, y'all can go out, have a good time. So I do want to do that just so I can, it could work with y'all better too. So y'all can at least have a Friday, So yeah. I'll be getting home from work at like 9:30. 10 o'clock because I work from 11 in the morning to 9 in the morning, so I got to do that tonight. Um,
Right,
so I'm gonna give y'all some time and stuff.
right. So in 1849, California extended property rights to women in the Constitution.
Mm.
See, women didn't have property rights in the United States, not in the state constitutions.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true.
Them
Hey,
white girls said they wanted to come out here to California and pan for the gold they damn self.
mm. But hey,
Independence
Dorsey,
wealth.
I gotta
Hmm.
go, and I got an
Yeah,
announcement
no.
too. Announcement is I got this poll going. You can stay. I got this poll going right now. For the next show, should we talk about the Berlin Conference or should we talk about Philip A. Payton? So what you do? Well, I'm gonna keep it up until probably like Tuesday, and I'm gonna make my decision on Monday. So definitely hit the one you want to do. Philip A. Payton is a guy from Massachusetts that moved to Harlem, New York, and basically bought real estate and moved black people in while white flight was happening. And he is also known as the father of Harlem. So definitely look him up. And the Berlin conference was about um a meeting of the
Splitting up
colonial,
Africa.
yeah, splitting up Africa. So definitely which one y'all want to see, hit the like. I mean not hit the like. Hit the poll and definitely do that. And I will see you Thursday. Was it? I'll see you tomorrow, but I'm gonna give my shout outs. Let me give my shout outs real fast. What's my damn, I only got a window open. What's going on today? Because I got two screens, everyone. So yeah. That's why if it looks like I'm looking over here and I'm looking over here and I got the big TV up here, so I got three screens technically, but you know.
Well, I'm down with
I'll
Reaper
see you
Nation,
tomorrow,
so
but
hey.
thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So we got B Actor, we got Dorsey, we got SP, we got Yaru's, Bombs Legacy, Shabaka, and Fresh Always. Thanks for the Cash App player. And also we got Robin from Kick. Thank you, Robin, man. He was actually chatting you out. He was like, "Yo, we want to hear Robin." He said, "We want to hear Dorsey talk." So you got a fan, man. You got a
Thank you,
fan.
bro.
So definitely, he from New York too. So, so shout out to y'all. Thank you, Dorsey. I appreciate everything, man. What you think is better, doing the talking at the end or in the beginning?
Um, really, to be honest with you, it's just depend on what your subject is.
Okay. So,
Because see, I can't talk about shit I don't know about.
oh, okay. So when we do the Reaper's Nation, do you like it at last after we watch the videos or before the videos?
I would have to say um before,
Okay, so
because then you can just cut down. You can just cut down on my talk, or whoever else wants to join in on the conversation. You can limit it down, and then that way you can get to the full subject. Because your show is to educate people, right?
yeah, this one right here is research, educate, yeah. So
Yeah,
definitely,
but see, this is my only thing. Um, if these people are going to participate in the show, they need to research the subject before they even open their damn mouth.
yeah.
Because if you're not educated enough, see me, when I heard what the subject was, I went and I researched it so I could get a better idea of who this guy was. Then I found out that he had connections with John Brown and all the rest of the people who were abolitionists.
I do you like him. I do you like him. I'm gonna give my shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, so when it comes to that, I wholeheartedly. But when you got people like Shabaka and Be Active who show their ignorance because they don't even want to go ahead and research the shit, they talk about the same shit. Us,
Mm.
and that's another something I wanted to bring up. White women used us for cannon fodder for their own motherfucking political gains.
Yeah. Democrats. Democrats been doing it for.
No, it was on both sides. It was on both
Oh
sides.
yeah, now,
Starting,
but like for the past like 100 years, it was Democrats. It always has
yeah,
been Democrats, but now it's switching sides and stuff. That's why you got the. But now they're using immigrants because it's kind of hard right now to really find that sample because we will point them out, and I think this is where the Democrats and the Republicans is having problems. Is that
yeah,
Black
the T.O.
Americans?
Thomas,
Yeah, we pointing them
you
out.
know, them Uncle Toms.
Yeah, and that's why I always tell people all the time, and I'll tell you again, SP. I'll tell you again, be active, and also, Robin, you gotta point them out. You gotta police your people. If you don't police your people, this is the type of stuff that happens. I've been telling you that.
Well, SP can't help himself.
Yeah,
He was raised up on that shit.
yeah.
And remember, he an anchor baby. This is his first time ever being in America, so he has to go against. He in conflict of what his parents taught him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then that's his conditioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then he went to USC, or he claims he over at USC, which is on 33rd Street, which is the University of South Central. That's what we call it
Mm-hmm.
because he in the middle of a black neighborhood, right across the street from the motherfucking Hostro,
Mm-hmm.
Figueroa. He knows it.
Oh yeah.
From Figueroa all the way down to 100, ain't nothing but Latinas prostituting themselves.
Mm. But Dorsey,
Yeah,
I gotta go.
just check the YouTube. Just check the YouTube videos on it. You'll see it.
All right, I'll look at it definitely. But thank you, Dorsey.
Figueroa Hostro. That's what it's called. Figueroa Hostro.
Oh yeah.
And I bet you SP involved in that shit too.
Oh, I'm not surprised. But thank you, Dorsey. You have a great
Give him a
day.
little looky before he go home to his fat ass wife.
Thank you, Dorsey.
All right.
Have a good one, all right?
All right.
All right, cheers.
FBA for life, baby. Bye.
Everybody, that was Dorsey. Dorsey always does a great job. I want to thank y'all for being on the show again, and I will see you Friday afternoon, 4:30. We'll probably do 4 or 5 hours. I'm just messing around with the time right now. 30 would work better for everybody where we'll do a 4:30 show and be out probably by like 10:30, 11. Just so y'all can go out and have a good time. We might even do a 9:30 show. Who knows? But again, thank y'all for being on the show. I appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow.